Hello kiddos, this is video lesson 13-4, dividing mixed numbers. It's assigned for Tuesday, May 6th. Make sure you write this down. This is the title. I want you to watch the video, rewind and pause when necessary. Write down everything for your notes and keep your notes organized. And remember, rewatch the video as many times as you need. Okay. I want your notes to be organized when you bring them to class. Alright. Let's see here. Here is an example problem, and it's 4 divided by 1/3. And what that really means is how many groups of 1/3 can we get out of 4? So how many groups of 1/3 are in 4? Okay, so here's an example. This green bar right here is going to be 4 units long. So the whole thing is 4. So how many groups of 1/3 can we get in there? Well, if I divide it into fourths, that means that each one of these little individual units will be 1. And then if I divide 1 into 3 equal and smaller units, those will each be 1/3. So I'm dividing each of these ones into 1/3. So remember, we're trying to find how many groups of 1/3 are in 4. So that's a 1/3 size section. So that's 1. There you go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is just a review about how to divide with fractions. So there are 12 groups of 1/3 in 4. So how many groups of 1/3 are there in 4? There are 12 groups. So just to verify, remember the saying, dividing with fractions is easy as pie. Just flip the second fraction and multiply. So 4 divided by 1/3 is the same as 4 times 3 over 1, which is equal to 12 over 1, which is 12. So there you go. Alright, so the essential question is, how do you divide mixed numbers? So the answer to this question, I want you to copy this down, but you're going to rewrite the mixed numbers as fractions and multiply the dividend by the reciprocal, which, if you remember, the reciprocal is the number you can multiply by any other number that will cause it to equal 1. So for practical purposes, you flip the numerator and the denominator. So we're going to multiply the dividend by the reciprocal of the divisor. So if the divisor is 1/3 in the previous example, we multiply it by the reciprocal of 1/3, which is 3 over 1. And then we're going to write the product in simplest form. Okay, so here are the steps. So to divide mixed numbers, you write both mixed numbers as improper fractions. So that's the first step. Alright, second step. You find the reciprocal of the divisor. Remember, the reciprocal is flipping the numerator and the denominator. And then you multiply the dividend times the reciprocal of the divisor. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. Here's example 1. It's 1 1/2 divided by 2 5/8. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to convert these to improper fractions using the Texas method. So 1 1/2 is 3/2, and I'm going to divide that by 21/8, which now I'm going to flip the numerator and the denominator. So I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to change that division sign to a multiplying sign. So it's 3/2 times 8/21. Okay, now I'm going to cross simplify That's a very important step. So they share a common factor of 3. So 3 becomes 1, and 21 becomes 7. And these two share a common factor of 2 because they're both even. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So now I'm going to multiply. 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 7 is 7. So I get 4/7. So there you go. All the steps. So example 2. There we go. Anton is making sushi rolls. He has 2 1/2 cups of rice, and will use 1/4 cup of rice for each sushi roll. How many sushi rolls can he make? Alright, so I'm going to start by making a model. Alright, so this original bar here represents 2 1/2 cups of rice. So I'm going to divide it into 2 1/2. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's our half. See, how many 1/4 cups of rice can I get out of 2 1/2 cups? Okay, so if I divide that first cup into 4ths, divide the second cup into 4ths, and I divide that half cup into 4ths, I get 2 out of that one. Alright, so each one of those is 1/4. So let's count them up. See, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cups of rice. So let's check this math though. So I got 2 1/2 divided by 1/4. So I'm going to convert 2 1/2 to 5/2, and then I'm going to flip the reciprocal of the divisor and change it to a multiply sign. So I get 5/2 times 4/1. I'm going to cross simplify. So that numerator becomes a 2 and that denominator becomes a 1. Now I'm going to do the numerator times the numerator. So top times top, and that gives me 10. And denominator times denominator, as bottom times bottom, gives me 1. So that ends up being 10. So I can get 10 servings out of 2 1/2 cups of rice, and that matches my model. Alright, let's look at the third example. 1 serving of Harold's favorite cereal contains 1 2/5 ounces. How many servings are in 17 1/2 ounce box? Okay, good question. So you have a box of 17 1/2 ounces, and we want to figure out how many servings can we get if each serving is 1 2/5 ounces. So that's a simple division problem. Start with the whole box, 17 1/2. I'm going to divide by 1 2/5. Okay, so in your notes, just make a note. This is what we're trying to solve for, is how many servings are in a whole box. Okay. So if y'all remember the first step, the first step is to convert these to mixed numbers. So that's the first thing I'm going to do over here. Okay, so 17 1/2 becomes 35/2, and I'm going to divide by 1 2/5 becomes 7/5. So remember the next step, I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of the divisor. So I'm going to change that division sign to multiply sign and flip the numerator and denominator of the second number. So I get 35/2 times 5/7. Remember, dividing by a fraction is easy as pie. Just flip the second number and multiply. So we have a common factor here of 7. The denominator is going to become 1. The numerator will become 5. Now I just multiply top times top and bottom times bottom, just like multiplication. So I get 25/2, and now I'm going to divide 25/2. I'm going to figure out how many halves can I get out of 25. So 2 goes into 2 one time, bring down that 5. 2 goes into 5 2 times, I get 4. So I end up with 1 left over. So I have 12 with 1 left over. So I'm going to write my answer as 12 with 1 left over, so 12 1/2. And there we have it.